The Volkswagen ID.Buzz has been a long time coming. An all-electric successor to the iconic classic Volkswagen camper, this striking new VW bus is already dripping with awards and acclaim. We drove the ID.Buzz on the Car of the Year international launch in Copenhagen last year, and I absolutely loved it on that event. I have now had more time to spend with the Buzz in the UK, doing a lot of motorway miles and generally living with it for a little bit. And I have to say, I still really enjoy this car. But before we have a closer look, wander around it and have a drive in it, let's run over the basics again. Now, this, of course, is a pure electric, currently only 5-seat. Well, you might call it an MPV. I don't think Volkswagen would, but it is a 5-seat car. Now, it's based on the MEB platform that you also get in the ID.3 and the ID.4, and that means it is rear-wheel drive. You get a 201 brake horsepower electric motor, and there is a 77 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery in the Buzz. There are currently no other battery options. There probably will be a longer range in the future. And that gives it a WLTP range of up to 260 miles, so that's the official government-claimed range. Now, I would add that what I really want to talk about the Buzz first is that this car is just a fantastic trick of the eye. Because if you look at it from almost any angle, it looks absolutely enormous. I think primarily because of that it's 1.9 metres high, so it is a high vehicle. You still get it into most car parks without any problems. But it's actually not that big. This car is shorter than a Tesla Model Y, or for instance, a BMW X5 is 20 centimetres longer. So actually, by the standards of modern SUVs, this is a mid-sized car. It is reasonably wide, it's over 2 metres wide with the wing mirrors, so that's a factor. But other than that, 4.7 metres long, but you've got those wheels set right out at the far corners, which means you get masses of space inside. So it is, like I said, just a fantastic trick of the eye. And also, let's face it, just such a fantastic piece of design. Talking of design, the Volkswagen ID.Buzz is modern retro styling done brilliantly. From the floating roof effect to the details on the C-pillar that hark back to the VW vans of old, and the heavy-browed look that it gets front and back from that jutting front bumper and slimline rear lights, it all feels sharp and modern, yet it's unmistakably a VW campervan successor. It looks particularly great in the two-tone paint, I think, although I do wish that this was in a slightly brighter colour, this car, because you can get the Buzz with the kind of classic orange or the yellow. Just looks awesome in those brighter colours. I would definitely go for that. But it is like, it's nearly a £3,000 option, regardless of which of the two trims you go for. And while we're talking about money, let's talk about costs on the ID.Buzz, because it is not a cheap car. So even the sort of entry-level Life trim is £59,000 and up. And if you go for the higher spec, the Style, then that's more like £64,000. So it's a lot, isn't it? But depending on how you look at this, if you consider the fact that this is going to be up against cars like, as I've mentioned, the Tesla Model Y, BMW iX3, it is actually comparable, and yet it is also much more spacious inside. So I can see how you could justify it quite easily. As for practicality, the ID.Buzz has an impressively cavernous boot. It is way bigger than any SUV rival, but it is annoying that the folded seats leave a step up in entry-level Life trim unless you add the Comfort Pack option, which brings this higher boot floor that also creates some cable storage. You do get this boot floor layout as standard in the more expensive Style model, but I can't help but feel that this feature should be standard on every Buzz. A power tailgate is optional on the cheaper Life model too. As any van aficionado will tell you, one of the joys of this sort of vehicle is the access, because you've got the sliding door, doesn't take up much space in a car park, and then you've got this huge kind of open aperture to get into the car. I like the fact that Volkswagen's got your traditional grab handle here as well to help you get in. It is quite a high floor, you have got the battery under there, but it's still really easy because you've got so much headroom as well. When you're in here, there is masses of space. There's huge amounts of legroom. You've got a 60-40 split sliding seat, so you can pull this right the way forward there. And this is my driving position, so I can sit behind myself quite comfortably, actually, even with the seat slid right forward. But normally, obviously, you're going to have it slid back like that. And then you've got loads of space. But I do have some issues because I just don't think there's enough versatility in here. Yes, you've got lots of storage, little phone pocket there, map pocket, got a little picnic table. This is all good. You've also got 2 sets of Isofix fittings, so you get 2 chunky car seats in here, absolutely no worries. And in fact, there's so much width in the ID.Buzz. It's wider than most of those SUVs we've already talked about, so you probably will even get a chunky sort of booster or something in the middle if you can fit it with a 3-belt seat belt comfortably and safely. I reckon you will get that in. So really good for sort of elbow space as well. But You can't take these seats out, which I think you should be able to do. There is no through loading, so it's not even a sort of 40-20-40 split seat, it's 60-40. And there's no centre armrest, which I find really weird. I just don't understand that at all. The comfort pack will be a popular option on the ID.Buzz Life, or it's standard on the more expensive style model. That brings additional USB-C charging points, including in the back seats, a heated windscreen, heated front seats, and the removable BuzzBox storage solution in the front. So the first thing you notice when you get into the Buzz is this driving position, because you sit really high up, you've got loads of glass around you, so it's really nice and light. And it's really, really comfortable. So it does feel quite unusual, because you've got a fairly short stubby bonnet in front of you. This armrest here is perfectly set for me. So you can sort of just casually lean on the door. You've got your sort of hand on the steering wheel, and it feels almost Range Rover-like. I really like it. Really high set, really comfy. It is a shame though, that in the entry-level style car, you have to pay extra for this centre armrest and for lumbar adjustment, which I think is a bit of a shame for such an expensive car especially. But other than that, you know, with the electric adjustment on this car, there's loads of adjustment. Everybody's going to get comfy. I really, really like the driving position. So while I have sort of knocked the versatility for the Buzz in the rear seats particularly, I have to say there is masses of storage up here. So you've got your cup holders here, you've got more storage in there, put that away, you've got a decent sized glove box, you've got a really nice shelf up there, you've got a really neat cubby for your phone right here, complete with a charging port above, or this is actually a wireless phone charging little pocket as well. That's really neat. Plus you've got, you know, rubberized little pockets here and deep pockets for your big water bottles in the doors. It is good. There is plenty of storage in here. Plus you've got further cup holders and things in your Buzz box in the centre. So it is really good. A 10-inch touchscreen system is standard and is really clear and sharp, and with familiarity you will find your way around it quite easily. You do have to pay £1,500 odd extra in either of the Buzz trims to get the bigger 12-inch screen that we have here, as well as a better 9-speaker sound system. You do at least get wireless phone charging as standard and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on top of the native nav system, charger search function and digital radio and Bluetooth. I would also add that Volkswagen's earned itself, well, quite rightfully, a terrible reputation for the usability of this new software. But I would add they have updated it for the Buzz. I find the screen now much more responsive. And actually, really, the menu layouts aren't that difficult to get used to. Yes, of course, the touch-sensitive temperature controls and volume controls are a total pain, as is the haptic controls on the steering wheel. But I would add the voice control, I've found it to actually be one of the most accurate out there. It really has done everything I've asked of it so far, so I've used that a lot and I think you do get used to it. The Buzz comes with vehicle-to-load charging so that you can trickle charge other electrical items using the car's battery, and it can also send power back to the grid provided you have got one of the currently very rare home chargers that can support that function. The CCS and Type 2 charging ports are in the rear flank of the car, and if you plug into a powerful enough rapid charging station, you will see charging speeds of up to 175 kilowatts, which will deliver an 80% charge in some 30 minutes. So that is everything that you need to know about charging in the ID.Buzz. And I'm going to come to real world range in just a minute, but first let's talk about what it's like to drive in the UK specifically as well. So this test car is on 21-inch alloys, and yeah, it does actually ride really quite well. It's a bit sort of lumpy at slower speeds, and you do get a bit of suspension noise. I've definitely picked up on that, but it's not too intrusive, and generally it just feels really comfy. It does go hand in hand with quite a lot of body lean. There's definitely quite a sort of floaty, wafty, slightly kind of lolloping feel to the Buzz. But you know what, I really don't mind that, because everything about this car, including actually the driving position, as I've already mentioned, this whole kind of ambience of this car, as soon as you get in it, you just want to kind of relax, mooch about, enjoy life. It really works. Nice light steering makes this feel actually quite wieldy around town. It's not bad at all. Excuse the rain. Welcome to the UK. And it is, do you know what? It's just a joy. I really enjoy driving this. Brake regen on the ID.Buzz, you can put it into a heavier brake regen mode via the selector, which is up here on the steering wheel. It's still really progressive. I quite like it in B mode, which is that heavier brake regen, but I'm used to EVs. I like that heavier sort of sense of brake recuperation. If you put it in standard drive mode, it's very mild. In fact, it sort of almost kind of rolls away with you, so it actually feels like lighter than standard engine braking in a petrol or diesel car, for instance. I just find it really enjoyable that this is a car that has absolutely no sporting pretences at all. It does have a sport mode, I don't know why, there's no kind of desire to drive this quickly at all. 0 to 62 in over 10 seconds, but it's got more than enough performance to fast merge onto the motorway, that kind of thing. As for real world range, well, in winter conditions and mostly motorway miles, we've managed to see 215 miles, or an equivalent of 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour from the Buzz. In the summer, we would expect that to creep up to more like about 250. So there you have it, the Volkswagen ID.Buzz. I mean, we've waited years and years for this, and I have to say I don't think it disappoints. All of those points I've already raised about, things that could be improved, it's not a flawless car. And yet, I can't think of anything else that is more characterful, that I enjoy spending time in more, really. Just on a general everyday drive, it sort of gives it a real fun factor. It does feel like it makes it a bit of an adventure, and it's just so enjoyable to spend time in. And I think not many cars do that. It's so much fun, it's such a cheery car to spend time in, and yet it's such a brilliant EV in so many ways. It is one of my absolute favourite EVs, and I think one of the best electric cars out there. Don't forget to head to CarGurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars, including loads of electric car options. And while you're here, you know what to do. Please do like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.